Jody, this is Dennis Erdman. If you can hear me, I just wanted to let you know that when we bring the meeting back to order at 6 p.m., I will call upon you to announce those who are present in the meeting via teleconference, or if anyone is physically at the district office, but that way we will all at least know who are the participants or the listeners in this evening. And occasionally, as we go through the agenda, if someone leaves or is added to the agenda, would you please speak up and let us know who's been added?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
But you didn't wear a fashionable one. If you wore yours, we could show the 4 different models.
Yeah, you guys look really good. I have this book.
Oh, that was me. Hi.
486 2767.
This meeting is now being recorded.
Hi, everyone. We're back.
Welcome back, Wayne.
Thank you. Good job, Dennis, earlier.
Thank you.
Got through it.
Hey, Jody, this is Joe McDivitt. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Cal Nelson.
Hi, Cal. Welcome.
Thank you.
Cal, does your phone number end in 2382?
2382, yes.
Hi, Cal. Wayne here.
Hi. Hello, Wayne.
How are you doing?
Well, we're staying wet today.
Like what? And I hope you're staying healthy as
That's what we hope. And you too.
Thank you.
Hi, Rick. Rick Erkenep joined the meeting.
Hi, welcome, Rick.
Hi, Jody. Chris Newton here.
Oh, something happened there, Chris.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Chris, try again. You're muffled or something.
Are you able to hear me okay?
It is a little muffled, Chris.
Eric Jessen logging in.
Hi, Eric.
Hi. Over.
Jody, this is Mark Cerno. Are you able to hear me?
Hi, Mark.
Hello.
Let's see. We'll wait one more minute, then I'll go through who I show on the meeting.
Jody, this is Chris. Is that any better?
Much better.
Thank you.
This is Dave. Dave Neal.
Oh,
Hi, Jody.
Sorry, Dave.
I have my ISO beard on.
Wow, look at that.
Look at that, Dave. All right.
Yeah.
Hi, Dave. I hope you're doing healthy and well.
Yeah, I am very much. I hope you are too.
Thanks. Okay, Jody, I am muting.
Okay.
Jody, this is Dennis. I see that the hour has reached 6 o'clock, and I wonder if it would be okay to return the meeting to open session.
Certainly.
Thank you. Thank you, Jody, and thank you, everyone who has joined us by teleconference today. This is a continuation of the regular Board of Directors meeting of the South Coast Water District on April the 9th, 2020. And it's 6 p.m. This agency did have a closed session that began at 4:30 p.m. and went for about an hour and 20 minutes. We will soon take up a brief report on one of the items that was taken during that closed session. But I would like Jody, if she would please, to identify the participants who are with us this evening by teleconference. And Jody, the floor is yours.
Okay. So for the board, we have by teleconference all directors: President Dennis Erdman, Vice President Rick Erkeneff, Director Doug Erdman, Director Bill Green, and Director Wayne Rayfield, as well as District Counsel Art Kidman. For the staff present at the boardroom from Group B, we have Rick Shintaku, General Manager, myself, Brian Black, and Pam Aarons-King, our CFO. Staff that's participating via conference call is Jillian Van Orden, Taryn Kosling, Sonia Morgan, Mark Cerna, Joe McDivitt, Greg Pennington, Joe Sinacori, Chris Newton, Roman Obzetka, Art, Andrew Corral, and then we have Dave Neal. From the public, we have Cal Nelson and Eric Jessen, both by conference call. Our contractors, I noticed that Trimbach from Parsons is on the phone, and I have two phone numbers that I still need to identify. So the first phone number ends in 0644. Can I ask who that is?
It's Kevin Kilby with Parsons.
Hi, thanks, Kevin. Okay, the second phone number that I need to identify ends in 5475.
Derek McDonald with Control Tech.
Hi, Derek. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let me just look through one more time and see if there's. Did I miss anyone? Okay, I think we're set, Dennis. Thank you, President Erdman.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jody. We will continue then after the closed session. The next item to talk about is to have a report on actions taken in closed session, and we'll call upon our counsel, Art Gibson, for that. Art, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a general rule, we do not report out in-progress settlements of litigation. Normally, we wait until everything has been signed and then report out that a settlement has been reached. But in this instance, we're talking about the California Voting Rights Act process that was kicked off back in January. There was a lot of public participation that was wanting to have more opportunity for input on things. And so the decision was made to try to reach a settlement and then release that settlement so that there could be public comment on it. And so the intention is to, let me say that different than the intention, the board has authorized me and the district staff to release the draft documents that they have reviewed in closed session that have been prepared in negotiation with the lawyer who initiated the process under threat of litigation under the California Voting Rights Act. So that the settlement documents consist of a stipulation among counsel. That stipulation among counsel requires both counsel to verify that they have authority to sign on behalf of their clients, and that the clients have agreed to be bound by that stipulation. And so we're, of course, going to be getting the Water District, at least asking the Water District to give that particular representation in the public meeting. And then in addition to the stipulation, there is a resolution of intention to initiate the proceedings under the California Voting Rights Act. I will not go into detail now. The next meeting will be the time to do that. But there is a very ample opportunity to take plenty of time and to have robust public participation. The second resolution has to do with those areas of the district that have, I should say, those areas that receive water service from the Water District, water and sewer service, I might say, but are not actually in the district and therefore do not get to vote for members of the Board of Directors. And so there's a resolution to undertake a review of whether there is a pathway available to bring those people into the district so that they can participate in district elections like other district customers. So those two resolutions are also going to be before the board on the 23rd of April, and that's then those 3 documents will be posted on the district's webpage. I think tomorrow is what I've understood, and so that there's time for people to download and to look them over and have plenty of time to determine if they have comments that they want to bring to the meeting on the 23rd. And Mr. Chairman, that completes my report.
Thank you, Art. We have a list of those people who have spoken in public session regarding this matter. I wonder if it would be acceptable for the district to at least reach out to those people if we have their contact information and let them know that this information will be available on the district website. Art, do you see any difficulty or any problem in taking that additional step?
I do not, but I'll let Jody respond to that.
And Jody, do you have the ability to do that?
Yes, actually, I was working with Art yesterday, and we have prepared an email that we will send out tomorrow to past meeting attendees and speakers, notifying them that these documents are on our website for public viewing.
Great. I think that adds to the transparency of this matter that we so greatly want to have with the public. Do any directors have any comments that they'd like to make on this matter before we can move on to the next portion of our agenda? Leave the floor open here for a few seconds to have a director chime in with a question. Hearing none, we will go to public oral comments. Any communications from the public? Jody, do we have any requests from the public to speak at this point in the meeting?
We do not have any requests from the public to speak at this point in the meeting, and additionally, we have one more participant, and that would be staff member Dennis Elby.
Thank you. That brings us to item G of our agenda, consideration of meeting requests that are outside of the district ordinance number 205. General Manager, do we have any such requests?
Thank you, Mr. President. We do not. Thank you. Over.
Thank you. That brings us to the consent calendar portion of the meeting. On our consent calendar tonight, we have one item, which is the approval of the special board meeting minutes of March the 12th, 2020. Does anyone have any comments or questions, or do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar this evening?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar this evening. Over.
Thank you, Wayne. Do we have a second for that motion?
I will second that. This is Bill Green.
Thank you, Bill. So we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Jody, would you call the roll on this item, please?
Certainly. President Dennis Erdman,
Yes.
Vice President Rick Erkeneff,
Yes.
Director Doug Erdman,
Yes.
Director Bill Green,
Yes.
and Director Wayne Rayfield.
Yes.
This item passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. That brings us to the new business portion of our agenda. And the first item under new business is pavement repairs at Country Club Drive, award of contract. And we'll turn this to the staff for the staff report on this item. Over to the staff.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President and Directors. Jody, can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you
Okay,
fine.
Thank you. All right, thank you. I just asked because I'm having a little trouble hearing some people. So, okay, this item involves, as mentioned, the paving of what we call Country Club Drive, Coast Highway, and actually all the way to the end of the district's property, which is actually phase 2 of the work. I'll explain that in a minute. And then from the edge of the district's property onto the ranch property up to the gate, that section of the street or road parallels the creek. The reason that we need to pave this was because of the work on the Lift Station 2 force main lining project. With all the additional traffic and heavy traffic and damage to the road, there was certainly discussions and accommodations by the ranch to cooperate with us to get that project done. and we did cause quite a bit of damage to both sections of the road. We broke this up into two phases. Phase one being the piece from what we call the Y, which is the end of the district's property where it enters the ranch property and travels along the road that parallels the creek to the gate, the slide gate where you enter the golf course. That's about 850 feet long and approximately 20 feet wide. And we broke this up into two phases because of the impacts it'll have on the ranch with their operations. We made these decisions prior to the shutdown of the ranch for the COVID-19 situation. However, we still felt it would be better to do it in two phases. The second phase of the work is from Coast Highway to the end of the district's property. And that's about approximately 1,500 feet long by 21 feet wide, plus or minus. So this item did not go to the E&O committee. We wanted to get it through the board, hopefully approved, so that we can award the contracts and be ready to go when the weather clears and it's coordinated with the ranch and, of course, the district operations. Since the ranch is shut down now, it would be a shame to take the time and not get this done. And if they reopen and then we are paving the road, it just wouldn't be a good timing for either us or the ranch. So we brought this or bring this to the board for review and hopefully approval tonight. We did solicit bids from our as-needed on-call contractors. Phase one, we got two bids. The lower bid was $64,227. You'll see that in the staff report. The second, that's phase one, that's from the Y to the gate. Phase two, the piece from Coast Highway to the Y, we actually got three bids. The lower bid of the three was $106,600. Look at the second page, or page 3 of the staff report. It lays out the numbers. We are actually asking to award this to two different contractors because we basically pick and choose the best prices of the bids for the two different phases. So phase one, we're asking to award that to A&Y Paving, and phase two, we're asking to award that to Century Paving. Both these companies have done work for the district. We're familiar with them. As I mentioned, they are on our as-needed list of contractors. The prices are reasonable, and we believe through our diligence of taking them out there, walking in and getting the bids, that we have good numbers. This project will be funded through the Lift Station 2 Force Main project. The original budget for that was $4.9 million. We have spent about $4.1 million to date, so this $213,000 will still leave approximately $680,000 plus or minus dollars under budget. With that, I would be happy to conclude my staff report and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Joe, for that report. Let's do a circle around the table with the directors to see if there are any questions, and let me start with Bill Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Joe, question. Will there be any coordination issue between the beginning and the ending of phase one and phase two, or will it be simultaneous? Maybe you addressed that, but I was just wondering, sometimes having two operations at once, and no one's tripping over each other. I'm sure it'll be well coordinated. It should be an issue, but just have a question on that coordination.
Well, that's a good question, Director Green, and I did not actually clarify that. The two phases are broken up on purpose to actually do phase one first, and then after that work's complete, do phase two. So they won't be done at the same time. That's a great question, though. I didn't clarify that.
Well, thank you, Joe. I'll make a motion that we go ahead with giving the authorization of the general manager to proceed with these contracts.
Thank you for the motion on the recommended action, Bill. Let's now turn to Wayne. Any questions or comments on your part, Wayne?
Well, just one comment. I wanted to thank Joe for a good staff report, and I will second the motion made by Director.
Thank you, Wayne. Mr. Kirkeneff, any comments or questions?
Sounds like somebody
using their phone, but I do have a question for Joe. I hope okay, it sounds like it's clear now. So are we in need of going to the Coastal Commission to request a permit for this, or does this fall under the scope of that project?
Actually, I would consider it to be outside the scope of the project. It's maintenance of an existing road and paving, and generally speaking, I'm not aware of any need to get a Coastal Commission permit to pave. Repave an existing road from a maintenance standpoint. Could somebody raise that argument? Potentially, but at this point in time, we did not pursue Coastal Commission permit. The project itself was exempt originally. There was a ruling, or I guess I should say complaint, by one of the local people that it should have had a Coastal Commission permit, and there is the process of going back, and I think Taryn is on the line. I might ask her to respond to that about the status of Coastal Commission permit overall for the project. But again, this paving is paving and repair of an existing facility, so I don't believe that we need a Coastal Commission permit for that. And I'd like to just mention too, Wayne, thanks for the compliment about the staff report. I am presenting it, but Karen did actually write this up, and she did a good job on it, so I want to thank her for that.
Thanks, Joe. And this is Karen Colsing. I can respond to the comment about receiving the after-the-fact permit from the Coastal Commission in the City of Laguna Beach. With the City of Laguna Beach and the Coastal Commission's recommendation, we were working through the City of Laguna Beach on that process. And back in December 2019, I had submitted the after-the-fact permit application to the City of Laguna Beach to Scott Drapkin, the planning manager at the City of Laguna Beach, and I'm waiting to hear their determination. So currently, our application is with the City of Laguna Beach. Over.
Thank you, Rick. I think your questions then have been answered, unless you have anything further.
No, I was just going to say I'm satisfied with that answer, and look forward to this project moving along swiftly. Again, as the resort is closed, so we'll have a lot of elbow room down there, hopefully. Over.
Thank you, Rick. Doug, any comments or questions on your end?
I have no comments.
The only question I would have is that we do need to be aware that that road is used by SACWA employees to get back to the coastal treatment plant. I presume that we're coordinating the activities and events with SACWA to make sure that they don't have any large truckload deliveries of anything during the course of the repaving project. Is that correct, Joe?
Yes, sir. We will work with them, notify them. Their deliveries generally don't go through Country Club Drive. They come from Alicia Parkway, just because they're going across the golf course trail and everything. They may have some intermittent pickup truck type of traffic, but we will notify them on the dates that we're going to, ahead of time, the dates we're going to do the paving.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from staff? Any requests to speak from the public, Jody?
No request to speak from the public, but I did notice we have had another person join our conference call meeting. Their telephone number ends in 4804. Can you please identify yourself?
That's me, Jody. Richard Gardner.
Oh, thank you, Richard. And now we've had another person join the call, and their telephone number ends in 0644.
That's Kevin Kilby again. For some reason I got disconnected.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. And now President Erdman will proceed with a roll call vote.
Mr. Chairman, this is Eric Jessen. I neglected to file a request to speak with Jody. But if I may, just thank the district for its proactive position in undertaking this project because it's just an excellent example of how you're taking care of your neighbors, in this case, the golf course. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Good to hear from you, and thank you for that comment. Unless there's another comment, we will take a roll call vote on this matter. And Jody, would you call the roll?
Certainly, President Dennis Erdman,
Yes.
Vice President Rick Erkeneff,
Yes.
Director Doug Erdman,
Yes.
Director Bill Green,
Yes?
Director Wayne Rayfield.
Yes.
The item passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. That brings us to item number 3 on our action agenda, and that subject is the Tunnel Stabilization and Sewer Pipeline Replacement Project, Phase 2 Notice of Completion. And we'll turn to Rick to introduce this topic and get a brief by Mark Cerna.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mark will be conducting the staff report for this presentation, but I just really wanted to give the kudos to all of the people on the tunnel team, from our staff to the contractors and project managers, designers, everybody who's really contributed to the success of this project. And I'll stop there and I'll turn it over to Mark Cerna. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rick. Good evening, members of the board and Mr. President. Thank you very much. This item is action item is for to consider executing the filing of our notice of completion and hopefully to release retention to our contractor, DrillTech. Again, as Rick mentioned, this has been a very important project for us. So this is a milestone for us to complete this project. This construction effort here for phase 2 of the tunnel project is roughly almost $26 million worth of construction. So a very, very large component of our efforts. And we've actually to date for phase 2 spent nearly $29 million for the tunnel project, phase 2, all in for our phases 1, 2, 3, and 4. As you know, we recently awarded the phase 3 project, but to date, and they are actively under construction at this point on the phase 4 and phase 3. But we've spent to date roughly $47 million, and we have some invoices probably coming in really soon. But through the phases 1 through 4, we've spent $47 million. And the large contract for phase 3 will ultimately get us closer to our final completion of the overall project, which was roughly estimated to date or projected to be about $94 million worth of overall project implementation. But with that, I would like to go ahead and introduce Joe Sinacori, who's been the project manager here. We also have Dave Neal in the audience. Of course, he's not local and he's at home, but he's also been a very, very important part of the project. We have several representatives here from Parsons and DrillTech on the line. So we thank them very much for all the hard work that they've been doing to get us to this point, and especially file a notice of completion. So Joe has a presentation PowerPoint, so hopefully we can pull that up, and he'll be able to walk you through the project itself and where we're at. Thank you very much. Over.
Thank you. Go ahead, Joe.
Good evening, directors and all listening tonight. Appreciate everybody's ears tonight. I do not see the presentation yet. Jody, is it up?
Yes, it's playing. There's a delay on Granicus, so you can go ahead and say next, and other conference call participants can pull up the meeting materials on our website and follow along that way.
Okay, so we're on the first slide. I just wanted to give the purpose of the staff report is to do a notice of completion and release of retention funds for the project. And I wanted to do acknowledgments. Like Rick and Mark said, this project has been very successful. Wanted to acknowledge Mont McDonald, the design engineer, Trent Cohan and Dave Jurich. Wanted to also give acknowledgement to Parsons team, the construction managers. We got Shimi, Trimbach, Kevin, and Scott. Very, very good team in supporting the project. DrillTech, our contractor, Derek McDonald. He's been leading the feat, and his right-hand man, Derek Paulson, has been the project engineer, and all of Derek's workers has been excellent to work with. And for South Coast Water District, our entire staff has been involved in this project with Mark Cerna leading the way, and Joe McDivitt in operations, and Chris Newton. We have Danny Takahashi's been involved, and anybody else who I've forgotten, definitely want to acknowledge them as well, but I wanted to at least give acknowledgement to the team here. The next slide is the agenda. I'm going to give a project overview, the scope of work. I'm going to hand it over to Dave Neal after I go over the project, and Dave's going to talk about the photos and give some overview on the construction. So the next slide is slide number 3. And the overview is phase 1 was constructed in 2016 with our access shaft, access tunnel, and about 600 feet of tunnel. For the phase 2, I'm going to skip the next slide. It's slide number 4. The scope of work for phase 2 included 3,843 feet of tunnel stabilization and enlargement, about 1,475 feet in the southbound direction, and about 2,400 feet in the northbound. There was 22 laterals in the southbound and 15 laterals on the northbound. We had 6 adit improvements. The first adit was over on Laguna Royale, just to give you guys some physical locations. The adit number 7 was at the bottom of West Street Stairs. We have adit 10, which is in Laguna Lido. Adit 12 is just south of Lido. And adit 14, if you go to the bottom of 1,000 Steps, right behind the bathroom, we have our adit number 14. And just south of 1,000 Steps, we have adit 16, which was also constructed as part of the project. And another Portal 4 structure was reconstructed as part of the project. And that gives an overview of the scope of work. I'm going to hand it over to Dave Neal now to talk about the photos and go over some of the construction. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, on slide 5, we see again the pipe protection, which is the foam covering over the pipe to clean out of the existing adit and wrap in the timbers so that we could remove the timbers after the pour was made. The rebar was installed along the whole alignment. It's a very difficult job putting that rebar in. You can imagine crawling around on top of that stuff. And then the pour. See the 2 wires running on the top? That gives us the cement depth as they make the pour. So we make sure we get our full 4-inch cover over the top of the rebar. Next slide, please. Basically, it was an 8x8 by 9-foot tunnel excavation. The contractor chose that size slightly larger at his cost to facilitate his work and effort. He also used the 4x13 steel set support you see in the center picture, again, to facilitate his work. That makes it a much more cyclic method of mining to get the initial support in, and allows you to batch the shotcrete, what you see on the right side. So they could batch their flash coated shotcrete after each week and keep the progress of the tunnel moving. Is a very good move, contractor's part. A lot of lateral movement, and each one of those laterals had to be brought in a different position and tied into the existing pipe so that we could mine past it and encapsulate it. You can see quite a bit of hand effort involved in that, in moving those around, and in some cases you can see the cleanouts, and like in the center picture where it's kind of turned towards the rib, but that'll be brought back out and around when we reconnect to the new pipe. So this was all designed so that we get the laterals out of the way of the mining activity, and then the connection be quite simple to bring it over to the new pipe when we get the tunnel finished. Next slide. Just some of the rail haulage system, the switch at the bottom of the shaft, where you come off and go into the tunnel on each side so we could mine in both directions, and small 5-ton Lokies and 3-yard buck cars they use for buck haulage on the rail system. Next slide, 9, is the finished adit 16A and B on the south of the 1,000 Steps beach. this was an open cut at one time, so the pipe was encapsulated but exposed as it went between this washout area and this drainage, and the drainage has a lot of debris that was falling down in towards the tunnel. So the tunnel, the pipe is now enclosed inside. We've got an access door there, and we've got a little roof on for the boulders that come tumbling down the side of that hill every now and then, and some steps to make it safer and easier for the maintenance people to get access. Slide number 10, I don't see it numbered, but this is a typical repair of some of the adits. This was adit 7 at the bottom of West Street. So they had to build a new structure and change the adit doors. The original adit doors and design were going to be PVC, but the kids found out they could bend that PVC pretty fast. So they've all been replaced with stainless steel and a locking system that allows you to unlock it from the outside, but also without a key come out from the inside in case there's a problem. See that brick wall there? I think that's getting changed in phase 3, so we can make that a little more stable and secure for the entrance. Portal 4. This is the breakout at Portal 4. This is at the bottom of Camel Point Drive. So this was mining out to the north with the road header. The road header was brought out there, and then the portal was reconstructed. And the machine was taken out up Camel Point Drive and moved off the site. Next side is the complex bypass system that had to be put in place so that they could maintain flow and use of the existing pipe while the existing manholes were removed and rebuilt. And so you can see it's quite a complex bypass system that had to be put in place. Everything went quite well. You also might note the wire mesh that was lifted to protect workers from falling rocks. There was a number of rocks that were just hanging there by their grace of God, I guess. Not much else holding them up there. But some wire mesh to hold those in place. And then above the portal arch, you see the spiles that were put in and grouted in place to hold the brow and give the portal itself support right at its juncture. Next slide is the finished portal. Looks quite nice. The shotcrete's designed to blend in with the formation. Stainless steel doors actually are. Next slide is no, it doesn't show it. I'll go back one. The stainless steel doors are actually being covered with a vinyl coating so that they blend in. They're pretty bright and shiny and very visible. So they've been blended in to make it fit the nature of the site. So we look at some of the milestones. We started construction in March of 2017 and completed phase 1 in June of 18. In phase 2, we started in June of 18 and completed on time in both sections on March 20th, 2020. Phase 4, we started in November. They finished mining last week. They've got the shotcrete done and the portion at the end of phase 4 abandoned. And they're out building now the portal structure at Portal 2. So that looks like that'll be estimated completion in June of 2020. So that's going along well and quite on schedule. Phase 3 got the notice to proceed for submittals in April of 20. That's about a 42-month duration, so estimated completion is roughly October 23. The next slide shows just a little bit of the cost in phase 2, and the doors finished at Portal 4. You can see how shiny they are, so that's why the vinyl coating. The design was $305,000. Engineering support by the designer was $250,000. Construction management for the period of construction was $2.8 million. Construction itself was $25,562. The change orders came in at $256. Almost all of the change orders were related to operational changes. Some bad laterals that had to be tunneled up to and collected and connected, reconnected, like adit 15 or lateral 15. So it brought the total price up to about $29,177,000, well within our budgeted amount and our allowance for overages. The next slide, 16, is the overall construction costs. So phase 1 was $9.5 million. Phase 2 is $25,562. Phase 3 was $36,443. That's the bid amount. Phase 4 was $6.1 million, for a total of $77,637. And that, if you add in all the design, permitting, construction management, and inspection, we expect the project to come in at $94 million, well below the 2007 estimate of $100 million. Next slide is beginning questions.
Okay, we'll open the floor to the directors, and I'll go through the list once more with the directors to see if anyone has any questions or comments. And let's start with Bill Green.
Thank you. Great presentation by both Joe and David. Dave, this project's been a real milestone and a pillar to the South Laguna community. So well done, and thank you very much. And I have no real questions, and I would make a motion to move ahead with the notice of completion.
Thank you for that motion, Bill. Let's go to Wayne Rayfield. Wayne?
Thank you, Dennis. And my great gratitude to everyone who's worked on this project. And Dave, that was really a first-rate presentation, as was Joe's. And so we're just proud of you all. And I will second Director Green's motion to move ahead with the notice of completion. Over.
Thank you, Wayne. Then we have a motion and a second. So we will continue around the table with Rick Erkeneff.
Thank you, Board President. Yeah, just more congratulations. I don't think you can ever hear it enough, but it's great to see the progress and the efficiency and the professionalism that's happened with this project. I've been fortunate enough to tour it twice, and both times I've learned quite a bit, and it was great to see the crews in action. And looking forward to, in the near future, this project being in the books, 100% complete. So keep our fingers crossed on the safety aspects, and it's great to see we're coming in under the anticipated budget, and great job to all. Over.
Thank you, Rick. Doug, any comments on your side?
I have no comments. Over.
Thank you. The comments that I would have here is that I think this is absolutely a stunning group of photos that are in this report. And I know as this project was in the developmental stage, we prepared a number of newsletters that were sent out to the customers who will be most affected by this. And I'm wondering if it might be possible to put together an interim progress report newsletter of some kind with a series of these photographs and send them out to the customers so that they can appreciate the work that's happening outside of their view but beneath their feet. I think these photos would go a long way toward helping people better understand the nature of this project and what we're doing for the infrastructure of the community. And I'll put that question to Rick and to Sonia to see if there's any opportunity maybe to do that.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, that's a good idea. We will work on that and provide an update to the board. Thank you very much.
All right. With that, are there any comments from the public, Jody?
No comments from the public.
All right, then would you please call the roll on the motion that's in front of the board, which is to approve the notice of completion?
Certainly. President Dennis Erdman?
Yes.
Vice President Rick Erkeneff?
Yes.
Director Doug Erdman?
Yes.
Director Bill Green?
Yes.
And Director Wayne Rayfield?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Jody. That completes the action portion of our agenda, and we will move to item J, which is items to be considered at the next meeting. I'll open the floor for any comments from the board members on any items that they might like to see brought forward at a future meeting. Hearing no comments, then we'll move to item K, which is oral comments, staff and consultants. And let's start with Mark Cerna tonight.
Thank you, directors. Yeah, no, the only comment I have is just to say that yeah, we are very fortunate to have the team we have today on our phase 3 and 4 project, and to have been fortunate to maintain the continuity throughout these various phases. So we look forward to phase 3 and all the efforts. There's quite a bit to do still in this project, but we have the right people to make sure it's successful. Thank you very much. Over.
Thank you, Mark. And now turning to Joe McDivitt.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing additional this evening.
Thank you, Joe. Let me just add my thanks and congratulations to your entire team working on the tunnel. It's an extraordinary job done to date. Let's keep up the good work. Let's then give Pamela the opportunity to speak. Pamela, you've been notably silent tonight. This was not a meeting that had much content for finance, other than the fact that shows we've spent a lot of money on the tunnel.
Yes, that's true. Good evening, directors and Mr. President. I have nothing to add tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Are there any other members of the staff that have anything that they would like to bring to the board as we complete this item of our agenda? Hearing none, let's move to oral comments by the directors and legal counsel. May I start with you, Art? Anything further from you this evening?
I was just about to push mute. I thought I was included in the staff. I do not have anything additional tonight. Thank you.
Mr. President, it's Rick
Thank you,
Shintaku. Could I make a staff comment now?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt there. Yeah. So I know Joe wanted to put this out more formally, but I'm just going to mention it right now. I wanted to congratulate Chris Newton, who won, and you'll see this on our website, who won the California Water Environment Association PICK Award, P-I-C-K, and that stands for Professionalism, Ingenuity, Contribution, and Knowledge. I won't go to all the details, but if you had a chance to meet Chris and work alongside with him, you'll see that, and I know firsthand, he's a great wastewater professional. He's an exceptional leader and overall great person. And I knew that from the very beginning when Chris started with us. He gave a speech, just an opening speech to his guys, and I was a part of that lunch, luckily, and I got to see that. And you know, working with him, he's a can-do guy. He volunteers for tough tasks. He's always does it with a smile on his face and handles pressure situations really well. So I wanted to congratulate him on that. A couple other items that I have. You'll see that I'm wearing a mask here. And we are taking this seriously at South Coast. And, I mean, the bottom line, you'll see Pam and I here. We're more than 6 feet apart and still wearing a mask. That's the important part. When you're not wearing an N95 medical mask, you still need to keep your physical distance from each other. But the bottom line is we want to make sure that we're continuing keeping the water running and the sewage flowing. And that means making sure as much as possible that we protect each other from this. We also want to wish the best for our community. This is really tough times. And you see it when you're watching TV or for me, I get to see these extraordinary stories of bravery and tireless work up close and personal with our staff. One example of that, and I can bring up numerous examples, is the heavy workload that our sanitary operations crews have had to do unfortunately, because people are not flushing toilet paper, and they're flushing a lot of other things, you know, paper towels, napkins, Kleenex, flushable wipes, which are safe flushable, but they're not, and worse. And we see quite a bit of clogging in our systems, whether it's the pipes and lift stations that move the sewage to the treatment plants. And I just wanted to note that most homeowners know this, but I mean, when you're doing that, you're putting your own system at risk. And there's a lot of stories that you can see through the news of people having to replace their clogged, broken sewer laterals because of this, which costs them upward of $10,000 or more. Obviously, it's expensive for the district to clear these clogs, and most significantly, the risk of sewer spills, whether it's on the private side or public side. And for me, you know, the unnecessary work for our crews working on the raw sewage, which is always worrisome, but especially worrisome during this COVID outbreak. So, you know, I know the toilet paper is not out there in abundance, but I just really wanted to put that note forward. And if any of you in the public are in need of toilet paper, it's not like we have a huge abundance of supplies, but we'll try to make sure that happens for you to help out our system and overall this area from environmental harm. So I just wanted to put that message out there, and thank you very much for the opportunity to comment, Mr. President. Over.
Thank you, Rick. And I'm sure that speaking for the board, I would echo your comments to Chris. Congratulations on the PIC award. We're very proud and pleased to have you on the South Coast team. Let's now turn to Wayne Rayfield for any concluding remarks.
Thank you, Dennis. And I wanted to add my congratulations to Chris. You make us all proud, Chris. So good job. I also wanted to once again thank everybody in the district and our contractors and consultants who have been working on that tunnel project. It really is extremely well done, and I know we all appreciate it. And finally, a word to our customers or ratepayers. I want to emphasize what our general manager said. Remember, flushable wipes are not flushable. So please don't use them. And stay healthy, everyone. And that's it. Over.
Thank you, Wayne. Let's turn to Doug.
I have no additional comments tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Bill Green.
Thank you, Dennis. I think I would just be echoing everything Wayne said, but congratulations, Chris, and good presentations this evening. And I would like to wish everybody a very happy and a holy Easter this weekend. Over.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you for those good wishes. Let's turn to Rick Erkeneff.
Thank you, President. I'll just end with, I hope everybody stays safe out there. These are challenging times. Pretty scary to have to go to work and deal with what, could affect yourself and your family. So good on the district for always erring on the side of safety and health. And hopefully we'll get through this sooner than later and get back to business as usual. With that, everybody have a great Easter as well. And I am done. Thank you. Out.
Thank you, Rick. I would just like to thank the staff for their diligence and dedication in this difficult time. Thanks, Rick, to you for your leadership. Keep things going, and we will convene again in 2 weeks. So with that, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you and good evening.